Welcome to Chiropad TV. This is Dr. Paul Bindell, President of Life System Software. It is with great pleasure that we provide you with this segment of our video training series for the ChiroSuite programs. This presentation will focus on the subjective complaint screen within Chiropad. Once the program is open and you select the patient, you go to the subjective complaint screen. On the subjective complaint screen, you are able to enter new complaints or additional items about previous complaints. To start with, let's say that this patient has a new complaint of sacroiliac pain. We would click on the area that corresponds with the sacroiliac region and then choose the item that represents the patient's complaint. We would note where it is located, either right, left, or bilaterally. What is the overall severity? Click on the drop-down arrow and choose what is appropriate. What is the overall frequency? In other words, when is it present? All the time, some of the time, or less frequently? If it is a brand new problem, leave the overall status set to new problem. Note that next to new problem is the paragraph symbol, which means that Chiropad will generate a full paragraph about this on this visit. On future visits, you would click on the drop-down arrow and choose whichever item is the most appropriate. Noting that those items that have a paragraph symbol are going to print full paragraphs, while those items that have no paragraph symbol will produce only a simple sentence about the patient's condition. You have the option of using a pain scale for this specific complaint, and on future visits you would also have a scale for improvement. In addition to the sacroiliac pain, there are many times that there are related pains that stem from the original complaint. For that reason, there is the tab entitled Related. When you click on the Related tab, you can then choose those adjectives and descriptions that apply to the second area of complaint that is related to the first one. Now, as you have made these selections, you will note that there is also a checkbox next to the word specific to the left of the head of the body view. If you uncheck that box and click on the same area, instead of giving a specific location, it now says posterior thigh instead of the more specific entry that it had originally made. When you are finished entering the detail set, you click on the button that says Commit Related Set. That moves that over to the right-hand column. This gives you the ability of entering another secondary complaint that is related to the first one. You can have as many detail sets as are necessary. Keep in mind that the main complaint is sacroiliac pain, and each of these details is referring to a complaint that is originating from the original sacroiliac pain. If these other items were individual complaints in and of themselves, then instead of entering them as a related complaint, you would have noted each one individually as a main complaint. Also on the subjective complaint screen, there is the tab for worse/better. In other words, for this complaint of sacroiliac pain, what does the patient say makes it feel worse? And those particular things are listed on the left. So you would simply go down the list and click on the items that the patient said make their complaint worse. As long as the item is highlighted, it will appear in your notes. If you make a mistake, just click on it again so it is no longer highlighted, and it will not appear within the note. In the right-hand column are those items that the patient could tell you that makes this particular thing feel better. In other words, it gives relief to the patient. Once again, as long as it is highlighted, it will appear in the notes, and if you make a mistake, you can simply uncheck it and take it off. On this screen, the tab for DDX is to help you with a differential diagnosis. In other words, when the patient complains of sacroiliac pain, also investigate things about the abdomen, the bowel, the kidneys, the gastrointestinal and genital urinary tracts. It is possible that the sacroiliac pain is actually secondary to one of these other areas, or it is possible that the sacroiliac pain is triggering a reaction that's going into those areas as well. This is just a gentle reminder for yourself and does not appear in the notes. When you are finished making the entire entry for this specific complaint, go above the body view and click on the red check mark. The complaint will disappear from the box on the lower right and is now listed in the upper right. For complaints that had existed prior to today's visit, they will still be listed in this complaint box. You would then be able to click on that complaint and see what was there the last time that the patient was in. You would then change only those items that need to be changed, and then after you have changed those items, click on the red check mark, and you have completed all the entries that you need to. And now, if you go down the list of complaints and you see that there is something that is no longer appropriate to the patient, the recommendation that we give is click on the complaint and in overall status, change it to no smart text. This means that the complaint will remain in the patient's file, but will not be deleted from their file. Should there be a recurrence, it will save you a significant amount of time, because then all you would need to do is click on that complaint again, come into the overall status box, and note that it is either an exacerbation or a recurrence. You would be able to have all the information at your fingertips. Once again, if you have made any changes on a subsequent visit, the last thing you do is click on the red check mark. After you have followed that procedure for all of the patient's complaints, be sure that you save them by clicking on the save icon. Also note that if the patient's complaints dealt with the anterior of the body, just by clicking on anterior, the body view turns around and you would be able to enter the information that you need to based upon the location of the patient's. Once you have finished all of the entries, you are then ready to move on to the next area of your SOAP note. Thank you for watching this training video. Should you have additional questions that were not answered here, please contact support@chiropad.com or call us at 973-625-3716. We will do everything we can to make sure that you get the maximum benefit from using the ChiroSuite programs.